So on that night, Achashverosh suffers from a bout of insomnia. And so the Pasuk informs him, he asks for the chronicles to be brought and read before him. However, the Pasuk doesn't really explain what the connection is between Achashverosh's insomnia on the one hand, and his desire to have the chronicles read before him. Rashi brings two explanations. The first understanding that Rashi has is that this essentially is a tool to make him fall asleep again. He says that basically this is the way, particularly of kings, if they can't sleep, to have things read to them in order to kind of soothe them back into a state of drowsiness so that they can fall asleep again. This understanding of Rashi seems to be predicated on the idea that Achashverosh's inability to sleep was not based on anything particularly profound, just that this was part of the unfolding providence of the Megillah, that Achashverosh can sleep, and that puts a series of events into place by which HaKadosh Baruch Hu was able to elevate Mordechai to a position of greatness. Alternatively, though, one can say that Achashverosh's lack of sleep is actually profoundly connected to the events of the evening beforehand, of him trying to work out what exactly was at play in the feast that he was invited to beforehand. The Gra suggests that what Achashverosh was really causing his lack of sleep was the sense that something was obviously up, right? That there was this request that Esther was about to confront him with. Clearly this was something important to Esther, given that she had endangered herself in coming into his throne room, and that he was racked trying to figure out, okay, what exactly am I up against? And the fact that there is almost this tinge of suspicion of what am I going to be confronted with works nicely with the fact that Achashverosh repeatedly tells Esther, I will give you up to half of my kingdom. That he feels that he has to kind of keep something off of the table. According to the explanation of the Gra, what Achashverosh was doing was trying to comb through the history to try to figure out, all right, what's going on? What kind of favor can I possibly owe that perhaps that's what Esther is angling for? And again, if in fact it was known that Esther at least was raised in Mordechai's house, it could be that explains Achashverosh's whole mental state, right? When he sees that Mordechai had never been thanked, and he knew that Mordechai had raised up this orphan girl, although again he didn't know that she was a Jew, right? But knew that she had been raised by Mordechai. That then he said, "Oh, now I know what she wants, right? And to some degree, I can go to the next feast, right? Feeling that perhaps I've already taken care of what I need to take care of." Rashi brings an alternative explanation that Achashverosh was actually much more worked up during the night, that he was concerned that Esther and Haman were plotting against him, trying to understand why it was that Esther was bringing Haman into what essentially was an intimate meal between her and the king. And his concern, again, that given in the climate where Big Son and Tarash had already tried to assassinate the king, that a plot was afoot. And that what he was looking for in the Divrei Hayamim in the Chronicles was to try to find an ally, right? Knowing that I have to go back, see who I owe favors to. I have to make sure that I have friends, right? Because something seems to be afoot here. So again, two major approaches. One to say that Achashverosh essentially just can't sleep and he's looking for distraction, right? And the nace is that within that distraction he discovers what happens to Mordechai. Secondly, that Achashverosh is trying to figure out what's going on with the parties, either to try to find something to make Esther happy, as the Gra suggests, or really fearing for his life, looking to find out where his real friends are.